Good morning guys and welcome back to our channel. In today's video we are going to discuss about the types of learning disabilities, that what kind of disabilities children they have when they come especially to from the rural backgrounds, right? Uh, so this kind of questions related to the disorders have been asked in the previous examination and will be asked in the future examinations also. So one should be aware about the different kind of difficulties or the disabilities which the children suffer from during their teaching learning process. All right. So there are around 21 disabilities which we are going to discuss today, and this video will not be as is not going to be too big or long in the length. Okay, the duration will be short of this because there are limited disabilities which we are going to discuss. So if you look at the first disability here, that is the blindness. Okay, so what the blindness means when one is not able to see, okay, completely. All right, one is not able to see completely, that is called blindness. Now second one is your low vision. Okay, now low vision is different from the blindness. In what regard it is? Because when we have the low vision, it means you are partially able to see, okay, or maybe dim light, you will be able to absorb what is happening around surrounding, right? So this is what the difference between blindness. In blindness you won't be able to see at all, 100% blind, and in low vision you have probability that you can see certain things dim. Okay, the next disorder which we have is your leprosy cured person. Okay, so what is the leprosy cured person? A leprosy cured person means a person who has been cured of leprosy but is suffering from. Okay, and what is suffering from? Is suffering from the loss of sensation in his hands, means he's not able to feel that. It means his hands and feet, as well as the loss of sensation and paresis in the eye and eyelid, but with no manifest deformity. Okay, so the person find numbness in his ligaments or especially in his hands and legs. Okay, that is called leprosy cured person. The fourth one is a hearing impairment. Okay, now when we are talking about hearing impairment, it means we are talking about the children, those who are not able to hear. Okay, we call them deaf mute. Okay, some of them they are not able to hear, they are called deaf, and one who is not able to speak and not able to hear is called deaf mute. This is the term for it. Okay, I write it for you guys here. That is called deaf mute. So hearing impairment is clear for you guys. Okay, the next one we have is that is known as called your locomotor disability. Now what is locomotor disability? It means the disability of the bones, okay, joints or muscles leading to the substantial restrictions of the movement of the limbs or any form of the cerebral palsy. Okay, now what is, in if I talk to in a layman language, this has become like kind of bookish language, but if I talk to in a very simple words over here, so locomotor disability, it means in this kind of disorder, a child's ligaments or the body parts are doesn't work properly. He cannot give them proper rotation. Like you have your hand, like for the purpose of doing cricket bowling, you can rotate your whole hand, but the person who is suffering from locomotor disability or a child suffering from this disorder won't be able to make the best use of his muscles. Okay, when he faces difficulties in this. All right, so this is known as called a locomotor disability. Now the next we have dwarfism. Now what is this word? Dwarfism is derived from the word dwarf. Okay, and the meaning of the word dwarf is short height. Okay, someone who is short height. Okay, so it is usually or abnormally low stature or a small size person. Okay, a person, in simple language if I talk, a person whose height doesn't grow. Okay, that is known as called dwarf. All right, so this kind of disorder also the children they face. Now you must be thinking that what connection does it have with the education? So it has the connection with the education, because this kind of children, when they are not able to grow physically, so they are not accepted by their class or their social group, so they feel neglected. Okay, and this neglection or the gives them the wrong ideas and wrong thoughts in their mind, that they are excluded from the class or they are excluded from the society, and this hampered their learning process even. Okay, next we have intellectual disabilities. Okay, intellectual means related to the brain, thinking abilities. So some children they have problem in thinking. Okay, especially the mathematics problems, science problems, etc. Okay, Now another disease we have that is called mental illness. There are children those who suffer from certain kind of mental illness. If this kind of students or children can be admitted to the regular school, so they find it difficult to make their place in the regular school, right? So for them, this kind of students, the government is having that separate schools for them, right? These are the schools for especially challenged children. Okay, next we have autism spectrum disorder. Okay, now what kind of this autism spectrum disorder? This is a kind of disorder in which the child is not able to communicate properly with his friend circle, with his teacher, with his social groups. Okay, this, so in simple language it is known as called social communication disorder. That is, okay, and in technical word we call it autism spectrum disorder. So you should know, they may give you in the options like this kind of disorders, and they may ask you this disorder is related to what, right? Next we have cerebral palsy. Okay, now what is the cerebral palsy disorder? It is a damage to the brain before or at the time of birth. Okay, when a child is in the womb of the mother, at that time also the brain get damaged. Okay, and or maybe at the time of birth. Okay, due to any fault, right? It can be any XYZ fault. So this kind of disorder, which mental disorder which takes place at the time of birth, is known as called cerebral palsy. Next we have muscular dystrophy. Now what is this muscular dystrophy? Is a group of inherited disease that damage and weaken your muscles over the time. Okay, means with the time slowly your muscles get damaged. This damage and weakness is due to the lack of protein called dystrophin, okay, which is necessary for normal muscle functions of a child. Okay, so especially the children those who are coming from the malnutrition, the means I mean those who are not getting proper food etc at their home, okay, due to poverty. So this kind of children, they suffer with this kind of diseases. Okay, the absence of this protein can cause the problem with the walking, swelling, and the muscles coordination. Okay, next we have chronic neurological conditions. Now, what are these chronic neurological conditions? These are the disorders that affect the brain. Okay, when we use the word called chronic, it means it is related to your brain. Okay. The next we have specific learning disabilities, right? And specific learning disability means a child is having difficulty to learn certain particular areas. A child may be having a good brain, he may be an average learner. Okay, for an example, a child may be good at English, a child may be good at the social studies, a child may be good at science, but he may not be good at mathematics. So in a specific learning ability, there is a specific area where he is not able to learn, he is not able to pick up. So that is known as called a specific learning disability. Okay, next we have multiple sclerosis. Okay, it is a long-term disease that attacks the central nerve system, affecting the brain, spinal cord, and optic nerves. All right. Okay, next disorder we have the speech and language disability, right? So there are children those who face difficulty when it comes to the speaking part, right? Because of what kind of background they are coming from, right? So the children is able to deal. Like for an example, just take an example of a rural area school. All right, in rural area, like actually, like the, like for example, you have take example of the Rajasthan state where the people they speak a lot of local language called Marwadi, right? If a child from that background goes to the school and he or she will find the teacher is communicating in any another different language, maybe it's a Hindi or English. Okay, so initially the child face difficulty to understand the teacher. Okay, supposingly if he's in an English medium school, so child may not be able to pick up English. So he's going to face the difficulty for learning this language, right? So this kind of challenges also children they face. So this has been also considered as one of the disorder for learnings. Okay. Next we have thalassemia. Okay. Now thalassemia is what? It is a thalassemia is an inherited, means this is pass something which pass from one generation to another. So it is a kind of blood disorder, okay, which is caused when the body does not make enough protein called hemoglobin, when there is a body is failed to make hemoglobin, okay, which is an important part for the red blood cell RBC. Okay, so thalassemia is that kind of disorder. Okay. Okay, next we have hemophilia. Now hemophilia is a kind of disorder in which the blood in your body doesn't clot. Okay, it comes out like, supposedly if somebody gets the minor injury also, the blood flows very fast and quickly. Okay, so the body loses the blood very quickly. All right, and as the body loses the blood quickly, what happens is patients start feeling weakness. All right, so in hemophilia is a medical condition in which the ability of the blood to clot is severely reduced and causing the sufferer to bleed severely from even a slight injury. Even if supposedly somebody get a minor injury with the blood or a needle or something, then also the blood flows very fast. Okay, so that kind of disorder is known as called hemophilia. Okay, next we have skill cell disease. Okay, skill cell disease is also known with another name that is known as called anemia. Okay, a severe hereditary, the name goes like skill cell anemia. Okay, a severe hereditary form of anemia in which a muted form of hemoglobin distorts the red blood cells into a crescent shape at low oxygen levels. All right. Next kind we have is next type is your multiple disabilities, including the deaf blindness. Okay, multiple disabilities including deaf blindness means sometimes this happen. A child is not having the one disorder. The child may be suffering or may be having the more than one disease. Like for an example, a child is not able to see, he is not able to hear, or maybe he is not able to speak. He is deaf, mute plus blind. So a child can have more than one disorder. Okay, so that comes under the category of multiple disabilities. Okay. Next we have acid attack victims. Now this has also been considered as a part of learning disability. Now you must be wondering that why acid attack has been considered, right? Now, supposingly a victim of acid attack is there, so automatically the acid, what generally the acid is like, supposing the acid attack victim is there, so generally the acids are thrown on the face. This gives the deformity of the face of the victim, right? So what happens, like a child or the sufferer or the patient or the victim is not able to gain the self-confidence back. Okay, his thoughts, his ideas, his process changes. Okay, and this leads to what? This leads to the negative thoughts in his or her mind. Okay. Next we have Parkinson's diseases. Okay. Now what kind of this disease is this? A brain disorder. It's a brain disorder that leads to shaking, stiffness, and difficulty with the walking, balance, and coordination. Okay. So in this disease, there is no proper coordination, no proper coordination of the body ligaments, right? So sometimes the patient finds stiffness, and patient or the child is not able to move properly, right? The stiffness always remain. He find it difficult to even stand, right? He needs support while sitting and getting up and whatnot, right? So this disease is known as called Parkinson's disease. Now, so okay, guys. So this way we have discussed with the types of learning disabilities, right, which are generally asked in the examination, right? So I hope that this topic will prove helpful for you. I wish you best of luck. Good luck ahead for your exam preparation. Thank you very much and have a nice day.